Welcome to Deep Thought. No society wants you to become wise. No society wants you to become wise. And that title comes from a quote that was shared on my timeline on Instagram. Let me read the entire thing. No society wants you to become wise. It is against the investment of all societies. If people are wise, they cannot be exploited. If they are intelligent, they cannot be subjugated. They cannot be forced into a mechanical life to live like robots. And that comes from Osho. Osho. Now, here's the thing. Here is the thing. And I was talking about the great divide this week. Also, don't entertain ignorance. A lot of stuff that happens to people, a lot of things are done because, quite frankly, many people aren't thinking. They're not exercising wisdom. They are not thinking. This is very important to understand, because if people were wise, they wouldn't contribute to their own oppression. See, here's the thing. Everything people do, people are not really forced at gunpoint, People aren't forced at gunpoint to vote for a politician who may be potentially corrupt or do something against them. They ain't forced. There's no gun to your head saying vote for this politician, or at least not in this country, not in the Western world in general. But you have a ton of propaganda to try to convince you to do stuff. Like you get advertising just for a product is trying to convince you to do something. Like when they advertise a sexy woman using some toothpaste, or a guy who uses a certain breath mint, and all of a sudden he's with a beautiful woman. That's propaganda. But it's still nothing forcing you. Understand how different groups with the ability to spread propaganda, and usually through the media, indeed the media itself, as the media, at least in this country, is owned by 6 entities, they can, they want you to do something. They're going to put it in a propaganda. They're going to put it on the TV show. Even some of these shows, there's always propaganda, and it's hard to find some type of TV show that doesn't have some level of propaganda. Even the science fiction things, they're trying to get messages across, And for some people, the message is good, some is bad. But whatever they do, you still have a choice in the matter. And if you become wise to your choice, and you become wise to what the days do, you become wise to the propaganda, all of a sudden you understand a lot. Now, I've said this several times, and it was a teacher at my high school, and may he rest in peace. And he was interesting. He taught religion, but he was an atheist. Very interesting guy. But he taught us differently. Like part of our class assignment was to volunteer twice a semester at a local soup kitchen. And I will never ever forget the lesson he taught us in understanding advertising. We had an assignment to watch the ABC nightly news, but not to watch the news itself. We had to write down all the commercials that we saw and write some little essay, high school essay on what we thought about it. But that taught me so much, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, what they promoted. And it's something I do to this day. I'll say, okay, what are they talking about? Or what's not in the news. Now, I don't want to get flagged for anything, and I prefer y'all don't put any current events in the comments. But for everything going on, pay attention to what they're not talking about. And you might have to look at other stuff. It's like, okay, something else is happening, Something else is happening. All this other stuff hasn't gone away. It hasn't gone away. We're just talking about something else. In fact, that's one of the things they do in the news. They come up with something big, and or all of a sudden nobody's talking about the old thing. But I'm like, that hasn't disappeared. It's still there, And a wise person would say, okay, what they not talking about? What else is going on? Always pay attention. There's always something little. That's one thing I would say. No matter what they're talking about, the news, it ultimately is propaganda because there's so many things they could cover, you know, so much they could cover. Like I give you a blatant one. This is more on the long racial ones. They quick to show, someone black committing a crime, but how quick are they to show that someone black who's 12 years old getting a major scholarship or scholarships? Thankfully we got social media, but it's not the same as being on the nightly news. Think about it. Think about it. Or if they all of a sudden do, okay, well, what else you trying to promote? Even if it seems good to you. It's like, oh, wait a minute, what else they trying to promote? It's always something. Trust me, everything, there's always something. I don't care what it is. There's always something. I'll give you an example. Once again, a racial thing. When we having the George Floyd uprisings and everything, and all of a sudden you had these major corporations, they say, oh, we're donating to this black business, or we're doing this cause. Are they doing it out the kindness of their heart, or are they doing it out the kindness to their bottom line? Always ask questions. Always ask questions and stuff. Even if it's something that would seem to be a benefit for you, always ask why. And see, that's the whole thing when it gets down to it, because if people ask why, then they don't play along. Because in order to control you, in order to have power over you, you have to agree to it. When you start asking questions, when you start questioning stuff, you don't go along with it. Like, I remember there was a young lady who was trying to get money out of me. And she was giving me all this stuff, but I kept asking her questions. I was like, well, why? Until the point she just quit. She just quit asking. Haven't spoke to her since, but I just kept asking. Now, somebody else might just gave her that money. All of a sudden, she would have hit them again and again. They weren't wise. See, I was wise. I was like, oh, okay, somebody wants something. What do you want? Even when I'm joking with somebody, being in a relationship, the woman's like being all nice and everything, or a little extra. And immediately I know, okay, she wants something. It's just a question whether or not it's something I want to part with. And a lot of times I do. Sometimes you get wise to the point you're like, she going to run that game. I'm getting a benefit from it, or at least some buffalo wings out of it. Okay, I'll let her do it. She ain't have to, but hey, let's roll with it. But when you get down to it, the ultimate thing, though, in order to control the masses has to agree, because the masses are like a herd, and even a herd can stomp over a lion if they decide to. Even a lion can't stop it. Indeed, I've seen many little videos or something on IG. The lion's supposed to be the king of the jungle, but I've seen some times where, somebody, even a giraffe, was fighting back against a lion. And so it's like, oh, wait a minute. The propaganda was, oh, yeah, this predator, nothing can stop him. But I've seen like some bulls or something like that, like ram them and everything. Even saw a warthog going after some cheetahs. It's like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. So here's the thing. Here's the ultimate thing. Learn, ask questions, get wise. If you have a critical mass of people who do that, society changes, and for the better. All right? I want y'all to think on that, all right? And I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.